650 as well as 12,800, which gives you really good low light capabilities with this camera. The 10-bit color, the 4K 120 for like super slow motion if you wanted to. Now with the ZV-E1, I would say this is the closest to the FX3 because you're pretty much getting the same sensor that you get in the FX3 and the A7S III inside this camera, and also same thing, 4K 120, 4K 60, no crop. Now just like the first two cameras we talked about, these two cameras are also very similar. With the A7 IV as well as the A7C II, they pretty much have the exact same sensor. Both have 4K that's downsampled from 7K footage. So if you're shooting in like 4K 24p, you're getting a sharper image compared to the Cinema and the ZV-E1 cameras, so that's kind of cool. But the moment you switch over to 4K 60, you do get a slight crop with both of these cameras, which you don't with the other two. So the crop factor is a little bit annoying because it changes your composition, and like you also like if you're shooting on like wide lenses and you want to shoot like slow motion or something, you always have to like keep in your mind like how much it's going to crop and does impact your footage. Now the other thing to keep in mind, no 4K 120, so if you wanted like super slow motion, then these are your go-tos. Okay, next up, autofocus. Now, autofocus is pretty much like, it's gonna be a standard requirement for most even filmmakers in today's day and age because autofocus is just so darn good. Now, when it comes to that, I would separate the cameras like this because the FX3 and the A7 IV are slightly older, and the ZV-E1 and the A7C II, these have the latest autofocus system, and they come with like the AI chip and everything like that. So autofocus on these two bodies is actually better compared to these two because they are getting a little bit long in the tooth. But I will say, I've been using both of these for the past 4 or 5 years, no issues whatsoever. Sure, you're gonna have like a little bit of hunting or a little bit of issues here and there, but if you want the best, latest and greatest, you're gonna get that with these two bodies here. Now another big one is low light, but you've already heard this bush beaten to death by now. The FX3 and the ZV-E1 with the dual native sensor that has like 650 and 12,800 ISOs to shoot on. These things are absolute animals. Like sometimes you're outside and it's like pitch dark and I'm filming with this thing and it looks like it's like bright outside. Footage of the ZV-E1. We're gonna go all the way to 12,800. Boom. You can literally see the night sky. Look at that. Time footage on the A7C II. Brightened that up a little bit to 3,200. You can see it doesn't really make much of a difference. All the way up to 12,800. There's a lot of noise here. Okay, next up is a very big one, and that is ergonomics and ports. So I'm gonna start off with my absolute favorite here, which is the king, the FX3. This thing is like, has been my bread and butter camera for pretty much most of my YouTube journey. Like I love the square body shape here. It feels a little more cinematic to use. I love how small it is, but it also gives you so much built in. You get a whole bunch of different mounting points already drilled into this camera, so in a pinch if you wanted to go like vertical or something like that, I can just mount a quick plate to one of the sides here, turn the camera vertical. I also love throwing cages on here, which is how I usually use the FX3. I love the tally lights because you can see that it is recording from pretty much anywhere. There's a record button out at front which I can just go ahead and push and toggle when I'm recording. The grip is the best grip out of all these cameras here. It's just so nice to hold. It feels so nice and chunky. Like this is like a quality workhorse camera, and you're gonna feel like you could get anything done with this camera. It literally inspires confidence. You also get dual SD card slots, which is huge. You can have redundancy in your recording so that if you're on like an important client shoot, you're recording to both SD cards in case you lose one or one gets crapped out. Now you also have a big one for me is a full-size HDMI port. This is absolutely crucial because anytime you get a micro or mini HDMI port, like you're gonna have issues. It also has fans, so if you are at all doing anything like interviews and filming like long documentaries, or you're gonna be filming like full day long shoots, out of all these cameras, I think the FX3 is probably your best bet. Absolutely fantastic camera. Can't recommend this enough. Okay, let's quickly talk about the ZV-E1. Now, I would say out of all the cameras here, this is probably feels the most plasticiest out of the bunch. I think they probably did that because to save weight and also to make it feel a little bit smaller and lighter. So you do get one SD card slot only. You also get a micro HDMI, which If you're planning to rig this up, just keep that in mind. You'll have to deal with a micro HDMI. Not a fan of that. Also, no EVF, just like the other cinema option we just discussed. And I will say, the grip on this is probably the worst out of all of these. So just something to keep in mind. But because this is plasticky and because
he was supposed to have 3 surgeries. He made it through 2. He hopped off the bed after the 2nd surgery and supposedly started fighting the nurse.
King Von's story just won't rest. Now there's talk that a nurse is finally stepping forward, spilling the real tea about his final moments. And it's way more shocking than anybody saw coming. Apparently, this same nurse is now giving a blow-by-blow of what really happened inside that hospital room. And it's straight up wild. Let's break it all down. The chaos in that hospital was out of control. While Von was clinging to life in an Atlanta hospital, all kinds of stories were flying around, and not everybody was telling the truth.
At first, people close to him, like Caleb B., were telling Balo that Von only took 1 bullet and was stable. But that couldn't have been further from the truth. In reality, Von had been hit multiple times, and these weren't just minor injuries. They were life-ending. The real deal hit Bello hard when Von's sister Sky told him what was really going on, and it crushed him.
And I hear her in the kitchen crying, Sky. I heard her in the kitchen crying, saying that he gone and this and that, and I'm thinking like, what you mean he gone? Like, I just talked about it. What are you talking about? And she like, yeah, they saying he, like, she crying.
The confusion didn't stop there. Bello was left trying to piece things together, wondering how the calm updates matched up with the heartbreaking news from Sky. The vibes weren't adding up at all.
Eventually, it all came out. Official reports from the doctors and Atlanta PD confirmed what fans feared. King Von died from multiple gunshot wounds he caught in that wild shootout. The autopsy hasn't been dropped in full, but insiders say it paints a grim picture. Von was hit in his right hand, his chest, and most deadly of all, a bullet that went straight through his back.
Those injuries were way too much, especially the ones that hit his vital organs. They caused him to bleed out inside, and not even the best doctors could pull him back. They tried everything, but it wasn't enough. The cause of death was officially ruled as gunshot wounds. No extra complications, no surgical errors, just the damage from the bullets.
But here's where it gets even crazier. Ever since Von's death, Bello's been putting out some wild theories about what really went down inside that hospital room. He's talked about it in multiple interviews, including one with 16 shot him visuals. And the stuff he's saying, it's raising major eyebrows.
Like, I can't even really get out her like I'm out, like she crying like that. So I'm thinking like, what the f are you talking about? Because we just talked to Ronnie, he just told us this. He told me and his baby mama, Missy, you know, the mother of his daughter. Like, Missy crying.
Balo's been out here saying that Von actually made it through 2 surgeries, but lost his life after waking up and trying to throw hands with the hospital staff. Yeah, he claimed Von was alert enough to get up and wild out right there in the room. That version of events had people side-eyeing real hard. Medical experts and fans on social media weren't buying it at all. They were quick to call cap, pointing out the facts. Von had spinal trauma so bad it would have likely left him paralyzed. Not to mention, with all the meds and sedation after surgery, there's just no way he would have had the strength or awareness to start swinging on nurses and doctors.
Yeah, so you know, I was in Chicago at the time, but you know, was telling me like, his sister Kayla, she told me, she said that he had 3 surgeries, but he made it. He was supposed to have 3 surgeries. He made it through 2. He hopped off the bed after the 2nd surgery and supposedly started fighting the nurse and asked the nurse where's his gun at, something like that. And then he died because he went into shock.
People on X, formerly Twitter, came with receipts too. quoting from investigative reports that say Vaughn was shot 5 times and was officially pronounced dead at 4:48 a.m. Those same reports said he never even woke up. So yeah, Belo's story just doesn't match up with the facts.
And here's another thing. Belo's version of events has changed over time. In earlier interviews, he admitted he only got pieces of the story, and a lot of it didn't line up. First, he was told Vaughn got hit once. Then later, it was 8 times. First, he heard the surgery went well. Then came the gut punch that Vaughn didn't make it. Even Belo said himself, the information coming in that night was messy, confusing, and incomplete.
So, like I said, Vonnie, he talking to me and Misi, telling us that Von good, he got shot 1 time, and this and that whole time he got shot 8 times, and I didn't even know. But I'm feeling better inside my head,
But then, things took another turn when someone claiming to be an OR nurse popped up on Reddit. This anonymous poster said Vaughn's death was caused by massive blood loss from organ damage, specifically to the pancreas, spleen, and small bowel. Injuries so severe they could have triggered sepsis. If that's true, then it lines up with the idea that Vaughn never had a chance to wake up or fight back. His body was already shutting down.
I don't know anything that's going on. It's, when I look at the footage, I'm seeing like, all the down.
Okay, so did you actually see Vaughn get shot?
No.
That nurse's Reddit post definitely sounds more believable from a medical point of view, especially for someone who took bullets like Vaughn did, but it still ain't confirmed, and it definitely doesn't mention any wild scuffle with the hospital staff. What's clear is that Vaughn's final moments have been twisted into a web of rumors, theories, and mystery ever since he passed. And fans, they've been deep in the conspiracy trenches. Some folks believe Vaughn's death is linked to other rapper tragedies, like MO3 and Young Dolph, pointing out strange patterns in the dates they were killed.
From what I understand, King Von was in his car outside the club, and someone approached him, one of his guys approached him and said, hey, we see Quando Rondo, I guess, asleep in the car, or somewhere around in the area.
Yeah, they seen so-and-so.
Yeah.
Track broke down exactly where he was when everything popped off.
You're actually right with him.
I'm in the front seat, because at that time, we drove in a Hellcat to the club, and when we left, I jumped in the same car, but he jumped with the security in a bulletproof truck. So when I came to the car, we've been waiting outside for like almost 40 minutes.
You get hit yourself?
Yeah.
In the leg? In the leg,
yep.
Did you realize you were hit?
That was my first time ever getting shot. I never got shot before in my life.
Yeah.
So, and adrenaline was running. So when I got hit, it sent a straight sharp pain through my body. And I looked, but I didn't know where I was.
Others are convinced it's all tied to the music industry. Stuff like artists not owning their masters. But let's keep it real. Most of those theories don't have much backing and get shrugged off by legit sources.
Then there's King Von's manager, Jameson Francois, better known as 100K Track, who was actually there the night it all went down and even caught a bullet himself. But Track? He's never supported Belo's wild story about Von throwing punches at nurses. In all his interviews, Track stays focused on the shootout, not what happened at the hospital. That either means he wasn't there for that part, or he just doesn't believe Belo's version, plain and simple.
I think it's like 2 o'clock, 2:43 to be exact out here. I'm asleep, but I see a missed call at 2:43, but I called 10 minutes later when I woke up and see my phone from Kayla. And she like, I called her back. She ain't answered, and I called again, she answered. She like, I'm like, yeah, what's wrong? You calling me? Because, I'm automatically thinking it's something, because it's like, you in Atlanta and you calling me at this time and I'm in Chicago. She like, yeah, she sleeps. So she like, yeah, I was calling you because Von had got shot 1 time, but Louis got shot and got shot. They saying that Louis and gone, but Von still, he got shot 1 time.
Track's story ends with Von getting rushed to the hospital, and that's it. Still, Belo's claims about Von fighting hospital staff have stirred up headlines, especially in hip-hop media
and all over socials. But let's not forget, this is just one version of the story, and it clashes hard with what's in the official reports and what actual doctors say would have been possible with Von's injuries.
Quick.
So I found out that he good and he in the hospital and he good. And so next, she like he got shot one time. Come to find out he got shot 8.
A moment that shook the whole rap game. Nobody knew it then, but the streets were about to lose a major name. According to reports from 11 Alive News, it all sparked off when two crews, Von's squad and some other dudes, ran into each other and things got tense fast. That tension, it snapped real quick and turned into a full-blown shootout. Shots were flying from both sides. Two off-duty Atlanta cops working security were already there. Plus, a nearby patrol officer rolled up when he heard the gunfire. But even with police in the mix, the chaos only got worse. More bullets, more confusion, and more bodies on the ground. When it was all over, 3 people were dead, including 26-year-old King Von and 34-year-old Mark Blackley. 3 other people, including Von's own manager, got hit that night, but somehow managed to survive. But what really throws everything into chaos are the conflicting stories about what actually happened in those crucial minutes. According to Atlanta PD, King Von likely got hit with those fatal shots before the police even jumped in, and instead of being rushed off in an ambulance, he was thrown into someone's personal car and driven straight to the hospital. That little detail, Von being taken in a private car instead of by EMS, ended up being huge when folks started trying to piece together his final moments. 100K Track, Von's manager, and one of the people who took a bullet that night, later explained how it all unfolded in those seconds before it went off. He was right there. He saw it up close. From what Track said, and from what security footage showed, Von stepped straight to Quando Rondo and started throwing hands. No hesitation, no talking, just action. It was on sight. But things exploded when Timothy Leaks, aka Lol Tim, who was rolling with Quando, jumped into the brawl and started letting off shots. That's when everything spiraled into chaos. Von wasn't the only one who got hit in the crossfire. Multiple people caught bullets, including Track, who took one to the leg. It was complete madness.
Now Balo, Von's cousin, wasn't there that night, but he got that devastating phone call from Caleb B., one of Von's close people, who broke the news to him. Then, Balo finally got in touch with Kayla, Von's sister, and that's when the real pain hit. She told him the truth, and it wrecked him. At first, Balo was told Von had only taken one shot, but later, when doctors revealed the full extent of his injuries, that first update turned out to be completely off. The situation was way more serious than anyone thought at the time.
Balo broke down how the story kept flipping. The updates he got were all over the place. At first, nobody knew just how bad Von's injuries really were. But as more info leaked out, the truth hit hard. The medical reports confirmed it. Von had been hit multiple times, with bullets tearing through vital organs, causing internal bleeding so severe that not even the doctors could stop it. Yeah, he made it to the hospital still breathing, but the damage was way too deep. And the moment that news hit the streets, the conspiracy theories started flying fast. Some folks immediately started claiming Von was set up. They pointed out weird changes that happened last minute, like his security team getting shuffled and his usual bulletproof ride being swapped out for a regular car on the night it all went down. Sketchy, right? Balo's been one of the loudest voices calling this out. He's questioned everything, especially why Von's security even let him get in that situation in the first place. "You ain't even supposed to let him fight," Balo said in one interview. In another, he straight up claimed Von was backdoored, that someone from the inside set him up. But here's the thing. None of those claims have been backed by any official investigations. And legally, the murder charge against Timothy Leaks, aka Lul Tim, the dude accused of shooting Von, got dropped in 2023 under Georgia's Stand Your Ground law. That move told the world there wasn't enough hard evidence to prove anything shady like a setup or planned hit. While Von was fighting for his life in the hospital after catching all those bullets, his family,
his boys and fans all over the world were desperately hoping for good news. The first updates that got passed around were full of hope, maybe too hopeful. Belo said he was getting info from Von's cousin V, and for a second it sounded like Von might actually pull through. But the reality was a lot darker. The truth about what was really happening in that hospital, about the brutal fight to keep Von alive, didn't fully come out until later. And when Belo finally told his version of what went down in those final moments, it only stirred up more questions and more controversy.
The days after King Von passed were full of heartbreak, confusion, and rising tension that wouldn't stay behind closed doors for long. As his family and loved ones gathered in Atlanta to grieve, collect his things, and lean on each other, cracks were already starting to show. And it didn't take long before all that pain and drama spilled out online for the world to watch.
Belo described what it was like pulling up to Von's spot in Atlanta, and what he walked into was straight-up chaos. He said some of Von's so-called homies were moving real shady, acting out of pocket when they should have been mourning and showing respect.
But one of the biggest scandals to come out of that time was tied to Von's sister, Kayla B. Rumors started swirling that she had taken personal items from Von's place, including hard drives loaded with his unreleased music. And Belo? He's been one of the loudest voices calling it out. He claimed he caught Kayla inside Von's closet, grabbing his drip, including clothes and a Louis Vuitton suitcase. Even more controversial, Belo says she had someone on the phone coaching her through what to take. And those hard drives were part of it.
In Belo's eyes, the biggest issue wasn't even what she took. It was how she did it. He felt like if Kayla was going to take something that important, especially unreleased music, the first person she should have talked to was Von's mother. Skipping over her? That's where the disrespect hit hardest.
These moves allegedly made by Kayla B didn't just cause side eyes. They sparked real family beef that still hasn't cooled down. Belo didn't hold back, claiming that after grabbing those hard drives, Kayla ended up handing them over to Lil Durk, Von's mentor and the boss of OTF, Only the Family. That's a major accusation, even though there's no solid proof backing it up just yet.
But the drama didn't stop there. Another name that keeps coming up in the aftermath is Vonnie, sometimes known as OTF Vini. According to Belo, Vonnie is the son of King Von's dad's best friend, and he wasn't just some distant family friend. Belo says this dude had serious access to Von's money and property. Belo claims Von had major assets under his name, and now those assets have mysteriously vanished. Properties, investments, or even cash. Belo says a lot of it is just gone. And the worst part? According to him, Von's family hasn't seen any of it. These claims are heavy, but they're also hard to verify. Without legal access to Von's financial records or proper documentation of what he officially owned, it's tough to know what's really true. But the allegations have added even more heat to an already messy situation. And it's not just about missing money or property. The family tension has gotten real personal, spilling out into public beefs, especially between Belo and Kayla B. Belo broke it down, saying their relationship took a nosedive not long after Von's death. Things started going left around Thanksgiving. He also mentioned a serious fallout with Kayla B during that same holiday. So while most families were coming together for comfort, Von's circle was splitting apart, and the cracks have only gotten deeper since. The personal beef between Belo and Kayla B hasn't just stayed behind closed doors. It's spilled all over social media, with both of them throwing shade and making claims about each other and about Von's legacy. Instead of unity after his death, fans have watched the family feud play out in public, sometimes taking the spotlight off Von's music and the bigger questions surrounding his death. And while all the drama's been playing out online, the legal side of Von's story has kept evolving too. Timothy Leaks, aka Lil Tim, who was originally slapped with a felony murder charge in connection with Von's shooting, had those charges dismissed in August 2023 under Georgia's Stand Your Ground law. That decision didn't sit right with a lot of Von's fans. To them, it added more confusion about what really happened the night he was killed, and why there still seem to be so many unanswered questions.
But things didn't stop there. In a major twist, a wrongful death lawsuit was filed in October 2024 by the family of FBG Duck, another Chicago rapper, naming King Von's estate, Lil Durk, and OTF Records. The lawsuit accuses them of negligence and misconduct tied to past violence. That lawsuit suggests the legal mess tied to Von's legacy is far from over. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get wilder, they did. On October 24th, 2024, 5 of King Von's close associates were hit with charges in a murder-for-hire plot aimed at Quando Rondo in Los Angeles. The alleged motive? Retaliation for Von's death back in 2020. Even more shocking, Lil Durk was arrested too, accused of being the mastermind behind the whole thing. This just shows how Von's death still echoes heavy in the streets and in the hip-hop world. The beef, the lawsuits, and the arrests keep piling up, and the consequences are still unfolding.
Even with all the chaos, some of Von's family, especially Belo, have been putting in work to keep his name alive. In an interview, Belo talked about upcoming projects meant to honor Von's legacy and make sure people remember who he really was, not just how he went out.
One of the biggest things he mentioned? A documentary on the way, diving deep into Von's life. Not just the fame and street stuff, but the real story behind the name. On top of that, Belo dropped another bomb. Another King Von album is in the works and coming soon. These projects are all part of a bigger mission to keep Von's artistry front and center, even as the drama, beef, and legal madness still surround his name. Despite all that, Von's music hasn't slowed down. Since his passing, we've seen a steady stream of posthumous releases, and his debut album, Welcome to O Block, went crazy in the charts. And remember, it dropped just 1 week before he died. Belo also shared something most fans never knew. A fact about Von's education that showed a side of him people rarely talk about. It wasn't about the music or the streets. It was a glimpse into the person he was behind the scenes.
That little detail painted Von as more than just a rapper. It showed he was layered, complex, and had way more going on than what the public ever got to see.
King Von wasn't just another name in the drill scene. He was built different. Even with all the noise and drama that followed his passing, Von's legacy stands tall. At only 26, he had already carved out his spot as one of the rawest, most gifted storytellers in the game. His bars hit hard because they came straight from the heart. Real-life stories from the streets of O Block in Chicago, where he came up and made a name for himself. His style, unfiltered, authentic, and impossible to copy. Von didn't just rap, he painted pictures with words. And even now, his impact is still echoing through the culture, inspiring a whole new generation of artists and fans who feel every word he spit. If you rocked with this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. We've got more real stories, more untold truths, and more
Hey, you hold on.
Don't
you,
touch me.
you hold
Don't
on.
touch me.
Hey, you hold on.
Hey,
sit down. Hey, sit your sit
Stand
down.
there.
Hey,
Stand
sit
there.
down. Sit down.
Stand there.
Hey, of course he's got a gun.
Stand there.
Get out.
Stand there.
Get out. Esteban, quit. Esteban, quit. Quit.
These are the moments when cops faced dangerous criminals, starting with a suspect determined to take an officer's life. On July 6th, 2023, Officer Matt Davis responded to a disturbance call at America's Car Mart, a used car dealership in the city. But what started as a routine call quickly turned into a violent confrontation when an armed suspect opened fire on Officer Davis, leaving him badly injured and slowly losing his life. As Officer Davis arrived at the dealership, a staff member pointed him toward the suspect, but little did he know that simple interaction was about to turn into a complete nightmare.
Was he across the street over here at McDonald's? I seen him earlier. I think
Probably.
He was.
Straight down the hall.
Okay.
Very last officer. Hi there.
Hey, what's up? Y'all okay? Yeah.
Hey, look, you come over here, call one, and come get me, because I'm about to go off on this police.
Hey, how you doing?
Shit.
What's going on, man?
Why you talking to me?
Well, they called about you. What's going on?
You have no authority, buddy.
Yeah, we do.
No, you don't.
Yeah, we
No,
do.
you don't. You're not even registered Secretary of State. You're color, supposed to color law, but you're not.
Okay.
But you're not, guy.
So what's y'all
You're not,
stance
guy.
on this?
Okay, then.
Y'all
That's
know
what
him at
I should
all?
say. Yeah.
Okay.
You can hand me over some paperwork, so that's my vehicle out there.
Bye.
As Officer Davis spoke with the man, later identified as 41-year-old Esteban Lowry, he started acting agitated and it was clear things were heading in a bad direction. With Officer Davis that day was U.S. Army Specialist Ioannis Kuko, who was doing a civilian ride-along, a program that lets civilians or military members ride along with officers during their shift. After refusing several times to cooperate, Lowry tried to walk away when Officer Davis called for backup, and that's what triggered his aggressive side.
I ain't going nowhere, I promise you that.
Okay.
Yeah. You put handcuffs on me, I promise you.
Okay.
I'm gonna make you stand down.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So okay, nothing.
All right, man.
You have no authority, buddy.
All right. We actually
So
do.
what do you want to do?
Just hang out, man.
No, I
You're
ain't
good.
gonna hang out nowhere because
Yeah,
I
you
can go
do.
where I want.
Okay, you just hang out here for
No,
us.
because you're not
You're
gonna
all
hold me.
good.
You're not gonna contain me like that. You're not gonna hold me in here. So can you please move out of the
No,
way?
sir, I will not.
You need to.
No, I don't.
So Jess, when you get the opportunity, don't take my life.
Hey, you hold on.
Don't
you,
touch me.
You hold
Don't
on.
touch me.
Hey, you hold on.
Hey,
sit down. Hey, sit. Sit. Hey, sit down. Sit down.
Stand there.
Hey, of course, he's got a gun.
Stand there. You are officer. Stand there.
Get out.
Stand there.
Get out. Esteban, quit. Esteban, quit. Quit.
Stand there. You're a police sergeant.
Get out. Get out. Get out, Esteban. Hey, take cover. Take cover.
Without any warning, Lowry opened fire, firing 16 rounds in just over 6 seconds and leaving Officer Davis seriously hurt. He was struck multiple times in the initial burst. Officer Davis tried to use his taser to stop Lowry, but before he could react, things took a terrible turn. Even though he was badly injured, Davis managed to crawl into another room, but he was quickly losing strength. Thankfully, backup officers showed up soon after, but Lowry was still inside the dealership, armed and in a very dangerous state of mind.
Where you at?
I'm right here. I'm right here. Help me. Help me. Come on. I can tell them about this. Come on.
Hey, you stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me.
Hey, get in the room. Get in the room. He's here. He's here. I can tell you.
Where's the man? Get back here. Crawl to it. Crawl to it. Crawl to it.
He's dead. He's dead.
Hey, get back.
He's dead, man. I killed him.
Move him.
I did. I fucking put him down. No, I didn't shoot. I fucking shot him. He's in the room. He's in the room now. No, he's on the ground.
Give me cover. Give me cover. You got cover. You got cover. I got the window.
All right, I got you. Let me see your hand.
Don't let that hand come up. Don't let the hand come up. Got one on the other side of the desk. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Hands up. Keep your hands up.
Is anybody else in here? Anybody else in here?
No, just me.
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Sir. Sir.
Lowry was found unresponsive as officers approached him. During the shooting, Specialist Kuko, who was unarmed, immediately took cover. Once the gunfire stopped, he stepped in and took quick action, using a control hold to restrain Lowry. During the struggle, Lowry lost consciousness and was later pronounced dead. Officer Matt Davis was rushed to the hospital for emergency care, and thankfully, he survived. After reviewing the case, a grand jury decided not to file any charges against Specialist Kuko. Next, you'll see how a dangerous criminal overpowered a cop and pushed him to the brink of death.
Hey, you gotta go down. You ain't dead. That's Jesus, bitch. That's Jesus. Man, I'm strong. I'm a Jesus lover. I'm a Jesus.
On the morning of April 4th, 2025, a standard traffic response near the Ohio-Pennsylvania state line was about to turn into a deadly encounter when a dangerous criminal was ready to take a trooper's life. The incident began when the trooper responded to a report of a single vehicle crash. But little did the officer know the driver wasn't a normal person. He was a dangerous criminal with 10 felony convictions and was ready to do whatever he could to get out of the situation.
Disregard, I was a truck driver. I think it's a black male with a pink shirt.
Come on, buddy. Step away. Come on, devil. Big step away. You a devil. What's going on, man? What's going on? In the name of Jesus, watch out. In the name of Jesus, watch out. Watch out, get hurt. You gonna get hurt. In the name of Jesus, stop, bitch. Hey, Lord, bow down. Jesus, Lord, bow down. Don't touch me, you're gonna die. Next time you touch me, you're gonna die. Next time you touch me, you're gonna die.
Turn around. Put your hands behind your back. 5-10, Cleveland.
The driver, later identified as Deshaun Leith, tried to keep the trooper from getting to the crash site and even started a physical altercation to stop him. But the good thing is, the trooper stayed calm throughout the encounter. Roughly 20 seconds into the exchange, the driver suddenly ran away from the scene. But that was just the setup before his violent move. And as soon as the trooper turned toward his car, Leith started to carry out his dangerous plan.
Send me another unit. He's on foot, going down the berm. Hey, you gotta go down!
You ain't down! That's Jesus, bitch! That's Jesus, bitch! Bitch! That's Jesus! Oh.
Get down on the ground!
Jesus! 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 You ain't no Jesus! Jesus! Okay, let's see. Good one.
The situation quickly turned into a violent physical struggle. Leith and the trooper began exchanging punches in a fight for control. At one point during the confrontation, Leith forced the trooper to the ground, briefly overpowering him and knocking the officer's body-worn camera loose. But Leith didn't stop there. He was about to take things even further. Bystanders at the scene saw the assault and tried to help the trooper. Leith then fled the scene in the police cruiser and started driving recklessly. And what happens next is truly shocking.
Get into my car. And then you start the car, go. Okay. You took the patrol car. Went into Pennsylvania.
The theft of the patrol car triggered a multi-agency pursuit. Law enforcement from both Ohio and Pennsylvania worked together to stop Leith, but he was in no mood to cooperate. The chase went on for several miles until the officers behind him pulled off a perfect pit maneuver, and it worked like a charm.
Calm it down, because Jesus is the best. Calm it down. So we were sitting down, right? And we was chilling at the Peace Center in the day room, and I told him about it, right? And I told him about us looking forward. It ain't no next place mentality. It ain't no next place. It ain't no next place. In the name of Jesus, I rebuke anything that is not of you in the name of Jesus. I bind it up right now. I calm the spirit down because I know Jesus is the best. I know it's a calm spirit in here. I know it's a protective spirit in here. I know the devil is not nobody. I know the devil is just somebody that somebody thinks of. I know it's a constant. There's not a monster. There's only a constant. And the devil, God is seeing you down right now. He's seeing you down right now, devil. And I'm praying in the name of Jesus. There's nothing.